We're speaking diversification, innovation, and the micro, small, and medium enterprises sector with Mr. Calvin Maurice, CEO of NEDCO, the National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Maurice, and we want to kick off the ball, start the ball rolling with an overview of NEDCO. But I want you to give me the distinction, because somebody might ask, but that's not just another government office, as opposed to NEDCO being a resource hub for entrepreneurs.
Yes, it is. So NEDCO has been mandated by the government since 2002 in regards to the development of this small and micro financing agency to really support the development of the unbankable, the high-risk individuals out there who will want to start a business and do not have the capacity to do so. So NEDCO essentially has the responsibility for this group of persons in our society to bring them up in the area of entrepreneurship.
Now, you speak about the unbankable and looking at some of these gaps in traditional lending agencies that NEDCO addresses. What would some of those gaps be?
Essentially, the fact that those persons will have limited capital to get into business, the type of training and skill sets that will sustain them in the business. We will provide the loan to them. We'll also lead them through to ensure that their business capability is intact. We'll give them guidance, we'll give them mentoring, we'll give them training to ensure that the risk and the gaps that will be assessed when they came to us for any loan or microfinancing, that these gaps will be closed during the course and during the period of loan repayment. And even after loan repayment, they can access NEDCO to get these areas of training and development and upskilling.
Now, you use some words there, and I'm diving down that rabbit hole behind those words, because apart from just money is one thing, but if I don't know how to spend it, I could have $5, I could have $500, it may make no difference. I hear you mentioning training, guidance, mentorship, and take me through that process, because it seems as though school and training and education institutions, many times, sadly, because of that emphasis on assessment and get a job and you're safe and you're permanent and you're like yourself. What is the difference between engaging or embracing a little more risk to say, this is something that I want to do for myself, as opposed to being employed, I want to be an employer?
Well, that's the thing about it, because it starts with a dream. DK. It starts with a dream. And NEDCO is here to support the fulfilling of that particular dream, you know. And so you come to us, you have limited finance. We will provide you with, first of all, the assessment. We'll assess you to see what are the gaps that exist for you to be sustainable in the business. We'll also look at your business plan to determine how sustainable that business is. And we will advise you again in terms of some of the areas that you should develop in your business plan to make sure that the loan you're taking, you'll be capable of repaying the loan. So, as I say, we have business advisory, training. So you get training in basic accounts, in terms of cash flow management, in terms of inventory management, particularly targeted to what your business will offer, what you would like to offer, and the skill sets you do not have. So it's not like doing a university program. It's short in terms of workshops, and then the business advisory will take you through, hold your hand, take you through, and make sure that the business is sustainable.
Now, you say it's short, and speak to the brevity. Give me an idea how long that is, because you say it starts with a dream. but COVID-19 has provided a nightmare where some people say that, okay, well, this is something I need to do because it may not be a dream, it may be the grim reality that I don't have a job, I'm no longer employed. So how long does that take?
Well, first, so we have, if you've been, a number of persons have been following through, NEDCO has started a number of webinars, free webinars, and some of them are paid as well, paid webinars. You need to pay to access it, but essentially taking you through this COVID period, giving you confidence. And, you know, we have a lot of persons who start being risk averse, and particularly DK. In terms of COVID-19, you have that even in a heightened way. So we, one, providing confidence to the entrepreneurs out there. Listen, we are here for you. We'll guide you through. We will take you step by step. We know it's probably a higher risk period. So do you have the technology? Do you need training in the technology? The whole area of upskilling to meet the demands and the risk that COVID-19 brings with it. You know, and over the next few weeks, we will be targeting our clients, targeting persons out there to ensure that we can guide them through COVID-19 in a more specific way.
Now, I want you to give me a little more information about being able to access that grant, but I'm also asking for some statistics, if you have them, highlighting the impact of COVID-19 on this sector in terms of micro, small, these businesses.
Well, let me just put it in this context. At this time, we received over 4,000 applications for this particular grant. And DK, I know, as all the other agencies that distributing grants, it is an intense period because people need their money. Persons will want their access to the grant just the day after they submitted their application. But we must ensure that there is no double dipping, because we have a mandate from the Ministry of Finance in regards to that. Persons who receive grants, other form of grants, cannot access the COVID-19 grant from NEDCO. So we have to make sure of that. We have to do due diligence in making sure that the requirements that we are asking for, like they need to submit 2 forms of IDs. Your business needs to be at least registered, you know, proof of address. We need to ensure that you have a business, because you know, DK, sometimes in Trinidad, you have all sorts out there. So our branch managers, our branches do virtual tour to make sure that this is a valid business. And so it's an entire process. And so you determine your eligibility, you determine how much you should get based on that, and it passes through the process of getting through the finance department and disbursement. So at this point in time, we would have distributed just over $5 million in grants, and we are moving steadfastly to ensure that the process picks up, and much more in the next week or so. I'm sure that we will complete at least 10 million in terms of this distribution of grants, which will bring us to just about 1,000 persons.
All right, and we continue this conversation when we return from the break. We're speaking with the CEO of NEDCO, Mr. Calvin Maurice. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with Mr. Calvin Maurice, CEO of NEDCO. And Mr. Maurice, we want to thank you once again for joining us. Give me some of your thoughts on the budget, please, as it pertains to MSMEs.
Well, I think the budget is on point in regards to that. Because the SMEs will play a major role in terms of the diversification of Trinidad and Tobago. All right. So we're looking at 3 main factors in terms of the economic reform, in terms of um, structural factors and macroeconomic factors, okay? And we saw that the budget touched that significantly. For example, when we talk about access to finance. So, and particularly for the SMEs, as we started to talk earlier on, we have this grant arrangement that exists now. But the question is, how will these small and micro entrepreneurs move on after COVID, post-COVID? Um, they would not be able to get grants all the time. And the government spoke about guarantees, loan guarantees, which is significant, DK, in regards to the second stage of moving these entrepreneurs from grants to putting them back on their feet in regards to providing these loan guarantees for them to finance the restructuring and development of their businesses. So I thought that was also a critical factor. When you talk about human capital development, that was also addressed, and that is significant as well for the micro entrepreneurs as they seek to upskill and re-engineer their businesses. So you talk about training and you talk about looking at innovative ways where they can move their business on. And one of the areas that NEDCO is also thinking on seriously focusing, also looking at research and development, how these micro entrepreneurs can access research and development for the sustainability of their businesses. So in short, the government package, fiscal package, really address the growth and development of micro entrepreneurs, the starters as well, and providing them with the capability to be sustainable. And that's very critical, to be sustainable in their businesses.
Now, looking at the fact that you're speaking about training and the different branches, how is training happening at this time? Because you also spoke about building capacity. Now, we have some footage of a training session that took place in Tobago, I believe. And
yes, it was in Tobago.
That mentorship and that coming together, because being an entrepreneur could be a lonely kind of exercise. You're thinking that you're the only person who's going through this when you're supposed to be sleeping in the night. You're studying how it is you're going to be keeping your roof over your head, carrying your business forward. How do people access that kind of training from NEDCO?
Well, we have online training at this time. So it's via Zoom, and then we would be navigating through a learning management system for the programs that may be a little longer. So they can access NEDCO online through these training programs. And as I said, the webinars that we would be focusing on is to support them in terms of how they make that transition, in terms of social media marketing, building their website. And these are some of the different areas that we would be supporting these micro entrepreneurs. Eventually, we would also be putting out a package in the next few weeks in regards to providing loans for these clients and entrepreneurs to purchase if they do not have the technology, to purchase technology to support their growth and their re-engineering and development in their businesses. So NEDCO, because, and the thing about it is that we have to look at all the risks that exist now for our clients and redirect them, inform them in terms of how they can mitigate all those risks. So we are here, DK, we are here to hold their hands, we are here to make sure that they make it through this period. And it may look gloomy, but we keep saying that all businesses must reinvent. And this is just the period provided through COVID for persons to reinvent and realize that they need to move their business from one stage to another. If there's a problem, NEDCO is here to support it. And that's what I want to particularly put out here this evening. So clients can contact us Anyone contact us if you're not a client of NEDCO at this point in time. If you don't want a loan, you can get our training and advisory services. So we know that it is a difficult time, it's a new period, and COVID is presenting so many dynamics. But the budget in itself has, and is evident, is showing where the support for these micro entrepreneurs are there. They simply have to know about it, they simply have to access it through particularly NEDCO, who is here to support the unbankables, the high-risk entrepreneurs, to make sure that they get through to the other end of COVID.
Now, I like the fact that you were able to make the distinction between training, mentorship, advice, and actually having someone apply for a loan. Because some people may say, okay, well, I think I'm comfortable at this point in time. A little more might always be nice. But what I really need is that advice. And that also takes me to the point of mindset once more. Do you have any reports of, or anecdotal or otherwise, of people saying, okay, well, I didn't realize that this is something that I can do. This is a way that I can pivot my business. This is a way I can already, I can build on what I'm already doing. I like to talk about the fact that Swiss chocolate is a benchmark of quality, but they don't grow no cocoa there. So how can we up the ante and carry things a little further along the value chain right here where we are?
Well, I am very happy you raised that, because chocolate is not only something that I like, but it's a pet topic of mine in terms of project. Because chocolate the cocoa industry identifies one of the wholly owned, let's say the wholly, can be termed as a total Trinidad and Tobago product through raw material and its human resources. So let's look at the value chain. It's not only chocolate in the cocoa industry. You have spa products. You have, I've even seen someone making paper from the cocoa leaves and incorporated it into handmade paper product. We have seen, for example, health drinks being done through the niblets from the cocoa, from part of the processing of cocoa. So there's a wide value chain. You know, so when we talk about manufacturing and businesses, I think one of the things you have to also look at is some industries require a small measure of importation to manufacture the final product. This is, for example, one typical example of a project where it can be done totally in Trinidad and Tobago and owned in Trinidad and Tobago with no other inputs from any external or foreign country.
And Mr. Maurice, so, I believe this is the start of a series of conversations that are necessary and timely. And I use that to say that we're out of time for this one, the opening salvo. But we want to thank you so much for being a part of it and just whetting our appetites. And we will definitely have more to speak about. But we want to thank you once again. And we want to thank you on behalf of the entire news team for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. I'm DK Roster. Have a good night.